When you think of an atheist, what do you think of? Do you think of someone who's moral, or someone who's maybe a little misguided? Or do you think of a charitable person who loves to help and loves to do service amongst their fellow man? Or do you think of them as like a hated minority group? Because I can tell you that atheists are the most hated minority group in America. And I had the opportunity to meet with the Atheists of Utah group based in Salt Lake City. The Atheists of Utah have a weekly meeting in a small coffee house in Salt Lake City where they socialize and they play games, and some of them even go out drinking in the end. The group draws diverse members from all over Utah, and while most reject the notion of God, they also accept agnostics and humanists and kind of other fringe religion groups who may not or are unsure of the nature of God. The group shared with me their struggles, as they're often hated by other people because of what they don't believe in. They shared with me that most people believe that atheists are evil. They shared with me the stories of abuse of other groups have cast upon them. One woman told me a story of her house that caught on fire, and she said no one, not one of her neighbors, had helped her because she was an atheist. The group also strongly believed in the notion of separation between church and state, which they felt should extend into the classroom, not just to higher levels of government. They exposed me to the one-sided religious perspectives regularly pushed upon to students, and they told me of schools here in Utah going on Mormon field trips, like going to a church history museum and going to a Mormon ward in one case. And there were also many instances where they felt like they were marginalized by teachers, coworkers, and bosses when comments were made that generalized the characteristics of the group. For example, one group said that a teacher told them, "Since we're all Christians here, we can agree that," or "How could anyone think that?" or "We all know that primary song, right?" A woman sitting next to me told me a story of how she was ostracized by her friend because of the belief that her parents held that she would promote risky behaviors in that girl, when in fact quite the opposite was true. This woman had stopped her friend from engaging in risky behaviors of sex and alcohol, and the community thought they had an idea of who this woman was because of her beliefs and what they thought the group that she was associated with believed in. But they didn't realize that you can be an atheist and still promote traditional and moral behavior. The group shared with me the difference between having to defend oneself and having to explain oneself. Because having to defend yourself constantly will inevitably make you feel like an outsider. And I think the school environment, a student shouldn't have to constantly get questions in an adversarial manner. And they should be able to feel comfortable and safe in a school environment to express their opinions, because if they don't, it's going to be harder for them to learn. I think that as teachers, we have the responsibility to use these situations where a student might be made fun of for their beliefs to turn it around and turn it into a learning situation where the students know they can have differing viewpoints and still respect each other, and they can still be a classroom community. Because silence is agreement in the eyes of a student who view you as a leader and a protector and a guide. So I believe it is valuable for us to consider the perspective of a minority group of Atheists of Utah so that we can become better multicultural educators. Thank you.